Hello and welcome into the So Rare Andrews podcast brought to you by RotoWire. I am Andrew Lair, joined as always by Andy Black, and as well today by Maxime Hagenbouget.
Yeah.
There we go.
Not bad.
Yeah, I've been practicing all day, literally. I went back to the last time you were on HG and I listened to it over and over again. And I was like, I'm going to get this one. And I at least had to try. But today we're here to talk about some new So Rare rewards. Andy, you and I were joking before our podcast last week that they were going to announce the new reward structure as we podcasted.
Yeah. And
right at the end of the podcast, they announced them. They have added kind of an announcement since then, so I'm kind of glad we didn't talk about it back then. But it seems like there is some optimism, but also people are a little scared of what's going to happen. Andy, what was your kind of first response to what they announced?
I mean, it was kind of what I expected. It was more, right? It was more rewards. I didn't expect the threshold thing to change, where it was focused more on fiat, less on crypto. But I mean, the more rewards is what everybody expected because the card rewards and all the divisions were so limited.
HG, do you have the similar response?
I think I was in the talks before they announced it, so I was not very surprised. But one thing that surprised me is the backlash around monetary rewards. And I mean, what did you expect? Are they going to give you away $40 every game week? When ETH is going crazy up, I mean, it's when you start aligning prices on fiat, you have also to align prices on fiat because you have to be consistent. And so if you want to have way more players also, I think you have to remove those prices. But I'm curious to see. I don't exactly know what they're going to do with the replacement stuff, but I'm excited to see what they are going to do. And I guess I'm pretty excited. But one thing I'm surprised about is they say, oh, see what it would look like for game week 154, I think. And they just said it's going to look like this, but without any details on or math around the formula. And I didn't see anyone complaining about it. So I don't know what it means. I mean, people trust them, or just they want to see more rewards, and so more rewards, so they say, yeah, it's good.
It's funny you bring that up. Yeah, so I agree that I feel like people saw more cards are going to be issued, and they were like, great. And they were like, and we're probably changing the ETH threshold, or we're changing the ETH threshold to be in line with dollars. And everyone's like, wait. No, we don't want that. And there you had those people, you basically had to convince people that So Rare was going to go bankrupt or they could go just belly up if they had to keep paying everybody $40 to $50 every game week, possibly twice a week. And it's like, well, do you want them to stay in business, or do you just want all of their money and then it kind of evaporates?
I think it's one of those cases of once you give something, it's really hard to take it away.
I totally agree. I think there was also a little confusion about whether they were going to keep paying in ETH, which it seems like they are still going to. It's just going to be kind of the amount is going to be tied to $15 and $30 respectively for 205 and 250. But so the fact that that's the case, even if they gave you ETH today and ETH goes up, what they gave you is worth more later. Hopefully, ETH always seems to be going up, right? All-time high today as we're recording this on April 22nd. I have not been involved in crypto long enough to think it's ever going to go down. So I'm sure you guys have.
Yeah, it only goes up. That's right.
Yeah,
definitely, it only goes up.
Yeah.
No. I was there when ETH was worth $1,000 back in 2018, and it went back to $100 basically. And I mean, I'm curious to see because it's going to go down. I don't know how, but I mean, I don't see ETH going to $5,000 and stay at the same level. So I'm curious to see how the community will react. And basically, if ETH goes down, you can say, yeah, thanks Sorel for aligning to $15 and $30 because every week I get the same thing. But I was kind of surprised to see like on Sorel data, like I can feature galleries for sale, and following the announcement, I had like 5 emails saying, "Hey, I want to sell my gallery," and I was like, "Is it really the time to sell when there's so much uncertainty about what they're going to do next?" And also, if everyone is selling, why would you sell right now? I mean, buy high, sell low. No, it doesn't work that way, at least to me. So, and I took some time to answer, and those guys finally said, "No, I'm fine." They said that monetary rewards will stay, so I'm fine with staying with my gallery and play the game.
There were a couple of things with the announcement that really kind of confused me. Like we had the people that were talking about selling their galleries, and some of them had really big galleries, and like they're that upset over 25 or 30 and $50 a week or whatever. Like it really kind of boggled my mind that that it was that big of a deal to them. And then also all the people that just assumed ETH is always just going to go up. And it was very obvious in their comments that they truly believed that ETH was only going to go up. And like, as an outsider looking in and seeing the comments that they were making, it was just like, it was kind of shocking.
I thought it was weird, kind of what you mentioned, that there were people on both sides of the spectrum of like, I'm done, I want to sell my gallery, where people who had like huge collections, who theoretically don't just play for the ETH thresholds, are like, this is going to kill the game, and so I'm going to get out now before all my cards are worthless. Like I kind of understood it more from the people who just play Global All-Star D4 for the threshold and say, it's just not worth my money anymore to try to make $15 a week, which seems silly to me anyway. Like, it's not like they moved it to 15 cents a week. Like,
right.
There's still, you can still make your money back over time. It's just maybe the time frame changes a little bit. It just, the combination of we're going to pay less based on the price of Ethereum, and the price of Ethereum going much, much higher than it was, 6 weeks ago, last week. I think it was just like kind of a tough combination for Sorare to announce that when ETH was rising so fast. But the cards, it seems like they're giving out a lot more cards, and we don't really know how they're, I mean, you mentioned, like, they said, they gave us this example.
Yeah.
I tried to like make some sense of it. Let me see if I can pull this up here for you guys. So like, I tried to basically say, like, take their example and then give it like a cards per league. So it was just kind of funny because they were like, it's much more dynamic, and it's dynamic based off of the teams and not the number of players. So like, somebody commented early on in the Discord, angry about, like, well, if there are usually 22, let's say, Champion Asia clubs that are playing, and there are 1,000 people playing this week and 1,500 people playing next week, it's not dynamic at all. We still get the same number of cards being distributed. And I think people wanted dynamic rewards based off of entries and not necessarily teams. But that also kind of just felt like I just want what is best for me, and I don't care if it ends up
very self-serving.
Yeah, as always. I mean, if you can influence a decision and you can take profit out of it, I mean, sure, why not? But I mean, one thing that is surprising to me is, like, I don't know how people can expect. I mean, I was one of the guy asking back this summer to not give up the top percentage thing, because at the beginning, like I don't know if it was at the beginning, but at some point, the top 20% and the top 10% got a card in divisions. It depended on divisions, of course, but I mean, I loved it because I thought it was scalable. I thought like if there's like 100 entries and you get in the top 10, that's cool. And now you have like these divisions like Div 3 or Div 2 with way more entries and way more competitive. And you have to get into that top 10 for Div 2. That is very difficult. And I was like, when they removed it, I was like, what did you guys do? And the first thing they told me is like, but we can't have like a top percentage ranking reward ranking if we have like an increasing number of users, because when you have a fixed supply of cards, how do you manage your supply based on an unknown number of players? And so I found it very hard to have a scalable model which rewards a top percentage of players with a limited supply of cards. And I mean, that's the $1 million problem to me. I mean, if someone finds a scalable model rewarding a top percentage of players, I mean, you're like, I want you in my team.
Yeah, I guess there's just like, obviously it's a finite number of cards, and they keep saying, they want every team in the top 20 leagues, but if they want that and they want over 1 million users, it's still not enough. Like, it's just not enough cards. And now, the next step is obviously like another scarcity, which is not really part of the discussion at this point. But I guess the reason why I was surprised that they did this, and with the examples, like, it just looks like they're giving out so many more cards, and it was so many that I was like, well, if you can give away this many, then you can just give away a percentage of entries. But obviously that's just not a scalable solution.
Sure, but that means that you do exactly the same thing as the thresholds. Like, you give so much at the beginning, and then you start removing stuff. And I think like they don't need to do this right now, because they will have some problems moving back to a fixed number of rewards every game week. So, I mean, yeah, I'm curious to see how it will go down. And yeah, I mean, I'm curious also to learn the details of how they compute actually the rewards, because right now we only have like simulations or something. So yeah, interesting stuff. Sorry. And I mean, it's basically X4 on rare rewards for some divisions, so that can only be good, I think.
I'm interested in what the breakdown is per division between Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and so on. And if there will be additional maybe rare cards that get rewarded in maybe Division 2 to kind of supplement. I mean, right now, I think we've had this discussion multiple times. The Division 2 has some issues when it comes to the number of participants and the number of rewards, and the value proposition of buying 5 super rares and getting in that division and competing is very tough when there's people that already have really, really good galleries of super rares to just kind of, crush you.
Yeah, and I mean, the cards that you get when you rank like 7th to 10th, I think,
yeah,
or 6th to 10th is like, I ranked 8th the other day, which is one of my best performances in Div 2. And I got this 24-year-old Eredivisie player that basically scores 25 points a week. And you're like,
oh, I can't use him.
You're like, really?
Neat.
I mean, yeah. And
what will I do with this?
Yeah,
and it's a bit frustrating. So yeah, also maybe I think that there's going to be some changes, like in the first places. I mean, is the tier 2 unique going to stay in Division 2, or will they move it to somewhere else? they didn't specify the number of unique rewards also each week. So, and also what's left is the weekly divisions. We don't know what is going to happen to them.
They're going to be more fun. That's what they told us.
Yeah, I expect them to be also more accessible and low budget stuff. And I mean, there's something they didn't do right, like with the weekly division. I don't know if you guys saw, but they say that it's limited to players with 40 points average over the past 5 games, but it's actually not consistent with the data they show, because now they computed the average based on if the guy plays or not,
right.
Exactly as Sora Data does. And so I don't know if they are going to evolve on this, but it's a bit weird because you can have like a player that is coming back from injury and scored like Neymar or Goretzka or something, and you can play it in those divisions. And I think it's a bit unfair to the one who plays real like regular starters that score like 30 points a week.
I think
it's a good opportunity for Sorare to kind of bait people into buying cards. I mean, if the rewards are really good in the weekly, and you have four cards that meet the conditions, but you're missing that last one, I mean, they can kind of trigger people into purchasing that extra card. So I mean, I kind of like that, where it's like it keeps the market moving, and then also the rewards right now in there are so broken where it's 10 people. It's just, I mean, it's pretty silly.
Are you still bitter that you didn't get that Jimmy Maurer special edition?
I'm very bitter.
I think trying to go back a quick second about like how they're distributing them. It seems like the example they gave that we're giving out more cards based on the number of clubs that are actually in the region. So like it's not even just the number of clubs that are playing, but also the number of clubs that there are just very few Champion Europe clubs versus Champion America, just because MLS is so much bigger and they only have a handful of the big 5 European clubs. So I imagine that just the supply of cards from the J League and the K League and MLS are just so many more of them. That also made me start wondering if like they haven't given us any indication of whether they're going to use a similar percentage increase in terms of like star tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 within each tournament. Like, are we now moving from 2 stars, 5 tier 1, 10 tier 2s, and 300 tier 3s? Like, are they just going to flood us all with these tier 3 cards that like hopefully they someone slipped through the cracks and you're just hoping for the Diego Rossi lottery? Or like
there's some good ones in there.
At least in America. But like, I don't know, it just seems like they've given enough time leading up to like, we're going to have more cards, but it's like, are we just going to be given more tier 3 cards, which like, not to like look down on tier 3 cards, but those aren't the ones that like people are playing for. Like we all want star cards or tier 1s. And if the new reward is just like, here's some more cards that maybe you'll use, I'm not sure that moves the needle much for anybody.
Yeah, but I mean, announcing more rewards is not necessarily good when you have like a messed up tier system right now. So I mean, when you look at the tier system, is like, so star tier is like 10 cards or something. Tier 1 cards are like 20 players, and tier 2 is basically 40 players or something, and tier 3 is all the rest. And if you look at like Challenger Europe, when you have GPL and Eredivisie, so that's basically 40 clubs plus Portugal, so it's basically 50 clubs, let's say. So you have like 50 times, let's say 15 players, you have like a lot of players in tier 3. So I mean, I think the reasoning behind this is, guys, we have so many tier 3s that we don't distribute, or that are like 50 a year, when we can give like 50 more. And I think like it's going to be a tier 3 party in D4. All-Star D4 is going to be massive. Like I expect like what does it say, like 400 cards? I think like until place 200 or 250 you will get a tier 3, and I don't know, tier 1 will be given to rank 10 to 30 or something. I don't expect tier 1s to be distributed heavily. I expect like tier 3s to be distributed like crazy, and people will have to fall in love with some starter in some random club in the Netherlands. But I mean, I think it's always better to get a card than ETH. So I guess it's cool anyway, because you can, ETH like goes up and down, and okay, you can sell it and get fiat. But I mean, a player, he can be bad right now, but he can be so good at one point, and he can also help you get a better team. So I guess it's better to have more cards distributed, but don't get your hopes up. You're not going to get Tony Kroos by ending like 30 in D4. You're still gonna get some random tier 2 card again, I guess, and you're going to have like the Laird face when he discovered his tier 2 card last game.
Old trusty.
He's a tier 3 now, in case anybody's curious.
Yeah.
Does it just seem as simple as making a tier 4 that doesn't get distributed as rewards?
I mean, to me, you need like at least 2 more tiers. It doesn't make any sense to have only 4 tiers right now with the number of players that you have. I mean, maybe it was fine when they introduced tiers, but right now, like tier 3 is so stacked, and even tier 2 is so like unequal. That you have like really good cards, where you have really bad cards, to be fair. And I think that they didn't like spend too much time on having like a fair system, and they're like, but it's fun to have like some kind of random cards in the mix, so you don't know what you get. And I mean, I don't think it's fun. No one thinks it's fun. And why do you keep doing this? I don't know, but I mean, they have some. Do you know who finds it fun? I don't know.
Black loves it.
I mean, Black. We have to disagree on this, but I mean, they have so much other things to work on, so I guess it's fine, and it's not a real priority for them right now. But they have to fix the system for at least the next season.
Yeah, I think just when it comes down to fairness, they should fix it. I do kind of think it's funny to see, and that's probably awful of me, but it's kind of funny to see. I don't want to say the misery of others, but just like the silliness that happens, like pulling a Joan, whoever you pulled, Laird, and then, and then you see somebody pull like a ridiculous card from a tier 2. It's entertaining.
I think it would be great. Like, I actually don't mind the Diego Rossi tier 2 stuff. I think it's silly how he ended up there. That it seems just a very simple fix to not have that. But I'm actually okay with each lower tier having a guy who should not be in it, because he should be in the next one up.
Yeah.
But it's when you get somebody who is in tier 1 that shouldn't even be in tier 6.
Yeah,
that part sucks. And so like I actually agree that I like the randomness of the tiers of like, I'm going to get one of these cards and who could it be? What I don't like is the fact that like the downside risk of that. And obviously it's extremely selfish. Like, of course I only want to be able to luck into a good card, but to like bad luck myself into a tier 2 card that I'm not going to use because, there hasn't been an auction in a year and a half and the guy has since retired or something. Like, I just don't, that part's not fun. And I feel like the rewards should be fun.
Yeah, but they have trouble like evaluating the value of cards that go into bundles. So I mean, this part is really tricky, and I don't blame them for not finding a solution that is right. But I mean, for tier 2s and tier 3s, I'm okay with the distribution being random and not being that fair. I mean, that's okay to me. But for tier 1s and star rewards, I mean, you guys have to do better on this, because I mean, last time, I don't know who I told you already this story. I got 8th in D3 Europe, got Tapsoba, which is a really nice card. 5th got Paul Lopez. I mean, I wouldn't want to be 5th. I just want to stay 8th. And 9th got Lukaku. And I mean, when you see this, you're like, yeah, I need to rank lower than actually my actual ranking. So there's many mechanisms that can be implemented. I think about like picking your rewards between 3 cards. I mean, that's what FIFA does. And when you get up to like the top 10, you need to have some kind of choice between your rewards, because I mean, you've earned it. Like, you're one of the best in the game week. Like, pick your reward, and that will help a lot with not being frustrated and not waiting anxiously at your shit reward at the end of the game week.
I will agree with that. I think it'd be really cool if there was, like a reveal process where 3 cards came up and you got to pick between the 3, because there's always going to be disappointment in, certain cards, whether it's just a team you don't like or a player you don't like or whatever. So if you won first place, it would be cool to just, or first place, top 5, whatever they determine. I mean, it would be cool if there was a way to just say, okay, here's 3 available cards, pick the one that you like most.
I think the one that I want to see, which I assume will just be pure chaos, is everybody who finishes within a tier, like whoever finishes first gets to pick the card. Like, they're like, here are the 10 card, the top 10. And here are the 10 cards that we're giving out in the top 10. And if you're first, you get to pick whichever one you want. And then second, third, and it's just a draft.
Yeah.
And so that way you can just get who you want. And then obviously whoever finishes 10th gets the last star card or whatever it is. But
they get the AC Milan player.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's sold in a bundle with a Donnarumma unique. And so, yeah.
I mean, the valuation on bundle cards is just ridiculous. I mean, it makes sense from like a math point of view, but I mean, in the game, it doesn't make any sense when you have like Ronaldo being sold like for 100 ETH or something like in the bundle, and you have like the 4 other rares cards that basically are nothing in the pack, like evaluated like to. It's 1% of the price, I think. It's like when you have a unique in the bundle, it's actually 96% of the price of the bundle, and the other cards are like 1%. And so you have like a McKennie, I think, in the pack that is worth like 1 ETH or something. And I think they made a bad choice by displaying it on the website, because now when you get to see a card that was sold in a bundle, you see the estimated price of the card and not the total price of the bundle. And I think it's kind of, and you can't actually go see the bundle. So it's a bit confusing to see it. And you're like, oh, wow, the bundle sold cheap or sold very expensive. And you don't really know what's the real price of the card.
I always considered that one the McKennie bundle that had the Ronaldo unique thrown in for free.
Yeah, definitely.
So HD, you were on the Moment podcast recently where they did a pack reveal.
Yeah.
And you seem like you were anti-pack to start. And I don't know how you feel about packs now, but you seem like you're very into reveals. What would you like to see Sorare do for the reveals? Because the shaking gift box doesn't seem to be enough for us anymore.
No, I mean, I guess like the production level on Top Shot is so high right now because they focus on the experience and the way that like you collect moments. So, and Sorare did focus on the game instead of actually the collecting aspect. So that's okay to me, but I want to see a rewards reveal with like exactly the same concept, like, and exactly the same thing as FIFA does. Like when you open a pack, you get to see this cool animation where you see like the position, like the country, and then the club, then the player.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much things that can be done. I mean, I'm just excited to see what they will bring, but right now I'm just looking forward to some kind of FIFA or a Top Shot level production, but I don't think it's going to happen like soon.
I think it would be cool if they ever move away from the stock photo, like the picture day photo, and do like an action one. Then just have like the highlight of where it is, and then it just kind of like stop. If it's a goalkeeper and it's just stopping like that, like I think that would be a cool idea, but I don't think we're remotely close to that.
Yeah, but I mean, the problem with this is NBA has like 30 clubs, and Top Shot signed a deal with the NBA, so as to sign deals with leagues around the world. And if you want to do this with all your cards, you have to like have the media rights for every player that you actually sell on the platform. So that's way more difficult. But yeah, I mean, many clubs have like gifs or of players celebrating when they score, and I think so as to negotiate a deal where they get not only the player photo but also some kind of media that can go to rewards opening.
Andy, one thing I wanted to bring up before that I forgot, but we have in our notes here like what rewards we'd like to see. I think I said last week, I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, but like, and obviously this is the exact opposite of what ended up happening, but I was looking for F thresholds in all D4 regions. Even if they tied it to USD, like that's fine with me. Obviously the solution is more cards. Are these the rewards you want?
I mean, I think that's the more like technically once you dig into it, that's probably not possible. And I think, we didn't really talk about the progression rewards that they're going to do. And I think HG might be able to speak a little bit to this, but just to transfer 0.01 and 0.02 ETH to a wallet when you win that threshold, that costs so rare money. So not only are they paying the money that the 0.01, 0.02, but they have to pay transaction fees to move it. So, I mean, if they could kind of roll up, and maybe that's part of the progression is they take the 0.01 that you earn or the $15 and $30 that you earn, and you have to earn maybe 5 of those thresholds before they pay it off. I could see that as being, a part of how the new progression system works. I could be way off on that. I don't know. But what are your thoughts, HG, on that and the amount of money that it takes to do that contract interaction to move the funds?
I think it like their decision is not driven by transaction fees. At least I don't think so. And all right, they're paying like a lot of ETH when they distribute rewards, when they are minting cards. Okay, but they raised like 50 millions this year. They have even before they made so much ETH on auctions that they were doing on the Loom network that was basically gas free. So I'm not worried about their bank account, but I think it's just a game design change, and you don't want to have your players feel like you're gonna get easy money every week. I think, and also I think you want to have like some kind of other rewards that are available. Let's say like you have a system where based on the points that your lineup scored, like you have a progression bar, and along the way you have like rewards, like I don't know, common cards or rare cards or even ETH. I think it's way more interesting than just having like one division only that works this way. I mean, I think it's a bit weird that only ASD4 contributes to having like a monetary reward or a points-based reward. And I think like you can do so many things with like all your lineups, and I think it's a great move. I think it goes in the right direction, but of course, people don't know yet what's going to happen, and it creates uncertainty. And I think I told them it maybe was a bad move to actually announce the removal of the thresholds without actually saying concretely what's going to happen next. And I think that caused some disturbances in the force, I would say.
Yes, for sure.
It seemed like they did basically the two sides of it where we're going to have something else that you can work towards each week that will accumulate over a few game weeks. And they used, I'm trying to look here, a platform to unlock cards by progressing and accumulating points across multiple game weeks. But then later they were like, but monetary rewards are also staying. Like they seem to be adamant about that. They didn't say, they seem to be making it very clear they're not going to be the same.
Yeah.
I feel like if they were the same, they would have said that. But do you think this is actually like three new changes? Like one is more cards in the tournaments. The second is card rewards for these multi-game week, whatever they have, and monetary that may not be what they have now, but it's something that you can work towards. Like, is there now two like thresholds that we're going to be competing for, that like this, whatever this new monetary one is, and this game week to game week one?
No, I think like there's going to be a global objective for your whole teams, and you're going to have like an objective based on the number of, I don't know, lineups that you lined up. And if you score like, I don't know, like 60% of the maximum score, maybe you'll get something, or maybe you'll get an objective over 1 or 2 months or something. But I guess I'm skeptical on monetary rewards, because if you have like, let's say a progress bar when if you score 1,000 points or something, you get to have like 0.01 F or something. I'm not sure I would do that. I'm pretty sure I would do something else. I would consider like you have to pick between one random tier 3 card, for example, and 0.01 or 0.01 ETH. And I think that what they're going to do is, and I didn't speak with them about it, but what I would do, let's say, is make the player choose between a monetary reward and a pretty good random card, because I guess you don't want to give free money and getting people used to getting free money, and you want them to collect cards at the end of the day, not get money out of it.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I think one of the ideas that we haven't discussed, but at least not on the podcast, were like thresholds that are just higher than what they are now. Like I think the 205 threshold was set up not necessarily to be easy, but achievable by a lot of people. Maybe that's the same thing. I don't know. But like the thought for me, at least with thresholds in the individual regions, were just make higher thresholds that don't necessarily mean that you can get all of them with low scores, like make 250 the 0.01 and 300 to 0.02 or whatever it is. But like, I think it got too easy for people to hit 205. And so they were like, we're going to lose a lot of money we're going to pay out a ton of money for 205. So I think even if they just said, we're just raising the threshold, because like, just be honest with people, like we can't afford to pay 0.01 if we have 1 million users. We just can't do it. And so change the threshold. But I like that idea of like threshold or card. That's kind of That's a fun concept.
But I'm not really sure they couldn't actually distribute like monetary rewards like to 1 million users. I'm not sure they couldn't. I'm pretty sure they could. If you have 1 million users like in D4, that means that you have 1 million people
Right.
actually
Bought 5
paid
cards.
for. Yeah. So no, I'm pretty sure it's more game design change, and I'm curious to see where it will go, but I'm pretty sure it goes in the right direction.
And do you have any guess of how people will complain about the reward drops? Like the free card, like the way that I read it, which felt a little weird, they were like, we're going to take a certain percentage of the tier 3 rewards and give them to people who didn't make the threshold. But are we like taking rewards away from people who should have had them?
No. I don't think so. But I mean,
I don't think so either, but it felt a little like, literally it says on those game weeks, up to 30% of the tier 3 rare rewards for the game week will be given to managers in D4 that did not score 200 points. So like the 30%, are they adding to that? Does that mean they're going to have 130% that week? And
but that's just another hint that it's going to be a tier 3 party. I mean, like, want some more tier 3s? There you go.
That sounds abusable, doesn't it? Just like set some really crummy lineups. I don't know. It just seems like that's like another thing that people will just abuse.
I mean, I have to do a tier 3 cup because people will have so many tier 3s to play with, and but no, I mean the reward drop is something I think is fine. But I mean, one counter argument to it would be to say, why don't you give it to like the 50 best, like the 50? If you give it to like 50 people, why don't you like reward the next 50 best ranked? Like, but I think it's just tier 3s. It's not like Tony Kroos or Neymar that you're giving away. So why not? And why not rewarding people that end up at quite low rank and give them some chance to actually progress in the game? I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I like the idea. I'll put it that way. I agree that there's bound to be people who try to abuse it. But it's just, I can imagine it's enough cards for it to be worth it to abuse it also.
Why? How would you abuse it?
Just multi-accounting and then getting 5 cards and entering.
But if you do something and you're not doing something because you think there's going to be multi-accounting, I think you're doing things wrong. I think like you have to focus on actually countering multi-accounting and not do features or build features based on the fact that there's going to be multi-accounts.
That's fair. Last question. When do you think this happens? Like the ETH threshold is changing to US dollar based sometime in May. And then later this summer, they're changing it again. What do you think those dates actually are?
May 31st.
I just figured it was like the end of the Euro season and the beginning of the Euro season.
Oh,
yeah. There's no reason to make a change any other time, it feels like.
It's so bad to work at Sorare because actually the month of August is the busiest month of the year because you have all the EuroLeague starting again, and so developers will be working around the clock in August, and I think it's going to happen, let's say late August or early September, because you don't want to actually maybe start the system while some of your users are actually on vacation and not playing the game. And so I think like early September looks fine.
I thought they said that was going to be dropped in May.
I think they were going to do they're dropping the 0.1 and 0.01 and 0.02 in May.
Okay.
But yeah, who knows what ETH will be in May? Maybe it turns out well, 15 and $30 is quite welcome instead of 15 and 30 cents.
Yeah, and what's actually funny is like the price of ETH tanked after the announcement and like went down. And I had Zuro on another chat saying, when Sora announces something about ETH prices, the price go the other way. I mean, if they give more ETH, the price will go down,
right?
And the other way around. So that was a bit funny.
Definitely a huge. Yeah, they obviously dominate the ETH market. Yeah,
calling the top.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all we have this week. As always, if you are watching this on YouTube, if you could please hit the like button below. If you are listening to the audio version, if you could just rate and review it wherever you listen. We'll be back next week with another topic. If there's anything that you guys want us to touch on, feel free to contact us. You can find me at RotoWire Andrew. You can find Andy at ablack86. Got it right this week. HG, do you prefer the at Maxime HG Twitter or at Sora Data? Either one.
I think the Sora Data account is way more interesting than my personal account. So I'd say at Sora Data. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, at Sora Data. So thank you. Or hit him up there as well. Maxime, happy birthday again. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, guys. Was a pleasure as always.
That's all right. Take care, guys.
See ya.
Try RotoWire today, free for 10 days. Get our premium tools, rankings, analysis, and breaking news alerts. No credit card required. Go to rotowire.com/try.